Well, okay then, boys and girls. Apparently, there is some drama happening involving Vshojo. Um, I'm gonna be honest with this at the start. I haven't really liked Vshojo for several years now, and that's more or less in line with a general trend of I am not a big fan of VTuber corporations. I prefer indies myself. But of course, I'm not trying to say you shouldn't like, your favorite VTuber just because they are or are not a member of a corporation. I'm just saying this to make it clear that I haven't watched any Vshojo related content for a long time, so I don't get it in my recommended. However, this week, I all of a sudden got like 3 videos back to back to back in my recommended involving some sort of Vshojo drama situation going on, and they're all like uploaded within a few minutes of each other, which tells me that something serious is happening, which is why I'm breaking down and actually looking into it today. I don't know what's going on. I haven't seen anything at this point. Decided to watch Charlie's video on it to get educated. So I'm sure that most of you probably already know what's going on if you're watching this video, but in case you don't, we will learn together. Alright, so let's get into it. 3, 2, 1, boom.
A time that always seems to ruffle some feathers and get people squirming in their chairs in anger, because I have less than kind things to say about some of the biggest players in the industry. But I just can't help myself. I can't bite my tongue on it. I'm like Winnie the Pooh poking a beehive because I'm addicted to the honey inside. And in this case, that honey is vindication. For a while now, I have bah-humbugged VTuber agencies. I've seen a lot of the contracts that some of the top talent were locked into with these organizations, and they are extraordinarily corrupt.
Yep. This is just what I was saying before. Yeah, I would never join a corporation agency. Mainly, for one thing, because if I ever did become successful enough to actually, make money off this content creation thing, I already work at a corporation in my normal day job. Why would I just go and join another one? I mean, you're not really, in my opinion, you wouldn't really be gaining anything, or at least I wouldn't. So if I have enough viewers to make money off of it, then I would want to be my own boss. But of course, everyone's situation is different. I don't necessarily think that you need to be part of a corporation. Some of these corporations, they just suck you dry, and I mean, if you feel like that's your ticket to success, then go for it, but personally, I don't think so.
I think the agencies in this space are exploitative, and they treat their talent more like prisoners. It is unbelievable the depths of greed that these agencies in the VTuber space have succumbed to. But before I dive deeper into the spaghetti and the meatballs on my disdain for VTuber agencies in the industry, I would like to give you the catalyst for why I'm talking about it again today.
Vshojo. But of course, yes, this kind of disdain for VTuber agencies applies almost universally. But Vshojo is the topic of today.
It's because Ironmouse just made a really sad video about why she's leaving Vshojo. Vshojo being another huge player in the VTuber space.
She's like basically one of the originals. Yeah, this is bad.
They are a massive agency that's represented some of the top talent.
Unfortunately, I recently found out that for the past couple of months, I have been misled by Vshojo. With the information that I currently have, I believe that I am owed a significant amount of funds, which I have not been paid. And most
What? A corporation not fairly compensating people? That's never happened before. I'm shocked and appalled.
importantly, the thing that hurts me the most is that the Immune Deficiency Foundation, which is the most important charity to me, and also the reason why I'm here today, is owed over $500,000 from Vshojo.
So they weren't giving money to charity that they should have? $500,000, that's a lot. Yeah, you know, going back to the idea of if I ever made it, on my own in this space, for a long time I kind of thought, if I ever did get big enough, doing charity might, I'd like to do some charity. I kind of like the idea, but I don't know, just the more that things go on and you see all these different influencer charity scams, the money's not going where it's supposed to. I don't know if it's really a good idea to do that anymore. And I'm not saying that as something like on my end I don't trust myself. I like I said, I would have liked to do, charity if I ever got that big and could actually make a difference with the platform, but people at this point would rightly distrust any sort of charity coming from a online influencer type personality. I don't want to call myself an influencer or anything because that's kind of cringe, but yeah, and people would rightly not trust that. And so if anything, I would probably just, it was relevant, leave a link in the description to some, official charity for, whatever the topic is. But yeah, that's just diabolical.
For those that don't know who Ironmouse is, she is one of the biggest streamers on Twitch in terms of subscribers.
Yep, Ironmouse. Never heard of her before. Sarcasm.
Even broke the all-time subscriber record, and she has a primary immunodeficiency disease. She has CVID. So she does a lot of charitable work for this organization, and apparently she's just discovered that Vshojo hasn't fully paid what they owed her personally, and they haven't paid the money that they owe to the charitable foundation that she was fundraising for. Something that she does often, but Vshojo is required in this process because they handle her money in certain cases, which is not uncommon in the space.
Yep, I mean, if you are part of a corporation, that means that you're not entirely your own boss, obviously, and I mean, yeah, there's going to be financial involvements, and you have to have trust that your employer basically is actually, doing what they're supposed to do. And unfortunately, we see more and more that this just isn't happening with these agencies.
I'm gonna get deeper into a lot of things with VTuber agencies that I've tiptoed around quite a bit in the past, but I don't want to fully go into the weeds of it here. But let me just go ahead and explain where that number's coming from, the $500,000 owed to charity that Vshojo still hasn't paid.
They promptly sent the payment, and the subathon was a huge success. So I decided to do it again the next year. My last subathon was one of the biggest events I've ever done. The support was overwhelming, and I ended up getting over 300,000 subscribers and breaking the all-time sub record.
Damn.
But this also meant that we had raised $515,000 for the Immune Deficiency Foundation. I once again asked Vshojo to make the donation on my behalf, but unfortunately, still a year later, Vshojo has not paid the charity.
So in a nutshell,
Well, don't worry, they'll get to it eventually, right? Yeah. They're just letting it earn some interest so they can give more money. Yeah, that's totally what's in their interest right now. That's totally what they're doing. God, this is sick.
Ironmouse ran a subathon. It was extremely successful and raised a ton of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars for the Immune Deficiency Foundation. And Vshojo did pay it out the first time around, but when she came back for the second time the following year, it was even bigger, it broke records, and it raised over $500,000 that were supposed to go to the Immune Deficiency Foundation that has still not been paid out to the charitable organization to this day, according to Ironmouse. Now, I've seen a little bit of confusion, people wondering why would Vshojo even be handling that money in the first place? Why wouldn't it just come directly from Ironmouse since it's her Twitch? Well, that's where you get into the really stinky territory where, in a lot of cases, these agencies, they handle the finances of the talent. Like, they put their grubby paws on it before the talent does. So,
Yep. Don't worry. We will handle everything. We will handle your promotion and all that. All you have to do is just give us your money, and we promise that we will give it back. We promise.
it's not uncommon in the space for the agreement between talent and agency to have the agency directly handle like their Twitch subs and their Twitch revenue and their Twitch ads, that kind of thing. And in the full video, Ironmouse goes deeper into this, so I highly encourage you to check out the full thing for the entire scoop. But in her case specifically, that was actually kind of appealing to her because then she would be able to stay even more private because she really values her anonymity. So having Vshojo involved in that process was actually kind of a big deal to her. And for previous fundraising through Tiltify, it wasn't a problem, but when it came to the subathon money, since it was going through Twitch subs and everything, it meant Vshojo was going to be involved in this process, and the first time it was fine. It apparently went off without issue, but this...
Unfortunately, I have to say none of this is surprising. This is exactly the sort of behavior that I would have predicted, but it doesn't make it any less sad to hear about. Just, you do not fuck with charity. It's just such a scummy thing to do. I'm pretty sure Vshojo is already making enough money. I guess it's not enough.
This time, when the money was even higher, well, some kind of screws must have went loose over there at the Vshojo headquarters. I guess that shit just fucking burst into flames or something, and they just haven't got around to it. They're still putting out some fires, and they'll get to it any day now. Vshojo would be responsible for donating that money on her behalf, an obligation that they still haven't fulfilled all this time later, according to Ironmouse. It's diabolical.
Diabolical.
Withholding over $500,000 to charity, and also withholding money that Ironmouse is allegedly owed as well. And what's even crazier is how unsurprised I am by it.
I just said that I'm not surprised. These companies, now, I'm not going to give any specifics on past controversies, but, I mean, these companies, and Vshojo in particular, they've proven themselves to be not trustworthy, and so, yeah, I mean, none of this is surprising.
Now, full disclosure, I didn't know too much about Vshojo's inner workings. That was one of the few agencies I wasn't super privy to on, like, the behind the scenes of. But I'd always heard good things, but I always had skepticism because of how the industry functions at the agency level from the other ones I know. And this kind of dirty, scummy, greedy business is just so standard for these agencies in the space. It is sickening. Now, Vshojo is going through big turbulence right now. They're losing some of their top talent, like even before Ironmouse's video. About a month ago, they made a post about how Giga was going to be departing.
Yeah, I guess this shows how little I actually know about Vshojo myself. I don't even know who Giga is. So, I guess no opinions about this person or anything there, but I guess she joined in 2023, man. It's been a hot minute since I've been up to date with this. Yeah, I guess they're crashing and burning now, especially with Ironmouse out. That's kind of one of their cornerstones, isn't it? I guess take $500,000 from charity, you're getting what you deserve.
Vshojo. And then just 48 hours later, they announced Zin would also be leaving Vshojo, one of their original members.
That's another big one.
So there's definitely been some, curious Georges out there wondering what's going on at Vshojo that's got everyone leaving. What's this exodus from Vshojo all about?
Indie supremacy. I guess it's a confirmation at this point that I will not be joining any corporation. So, if you like the content, and you're ever worried about me leaving, don't worry. That's not gonna happen. Unless I just get off the internet 100%, I'm not going anywhere.
Fun fact, Giga is actually with us at Cheeky now. We're not like a VTuber agency. That's not what I'm trying to get across. Our soap. She really likes our soap, Cheeky soap.
Oh.
So she's partnered with us at Cheeky.
Bathing. It's important. Buy some soap.
She is an absolute sweetheart. That's what I was trying to get across. The point is, some like really good people have been leaving Vshojo, and now Ironmouse have dropped this video about some very alleged scummy practices here at the Vshojo corporate level, and I don't know how Vshojo recovers from it going forward.
Well, next time, just scam more money from charity in order to cover the cost of, talents leaving. That'll work. I don't know. It just blows my mind how some people can sleep at night doing stuff like this.
They haven't made a statement yet. It's still a little too fresh as of me making this video.
And of course, it's so easy to take the moral high ground in this situation. I'm not trying to imply that I'm like some perfect being, and I would totally, run everything perfectly smoothly if I were in charge of some place. But I wouldn't do this.
Very curious what they're going to say about it. If I had to spitball, I would imagine that their next play will be donating that money to the charitable foundation.
Oh, you don't say. Although, would the proper business move to just keep it pocketed? Because, it's not like you're going to win over, the people that you pissed off. In this situation, it's kind of sunk cost at this point. You've definitely lost a lot of goodwill, and probably also money, potential future money too, by exposing yourselves as corrupt assholes. But you might just want to keep the money, because it's not like you're going to get it back by redeeming yourselves, because that's kind of beyond you now.
I imagine they donate the 515K to the Immune Deficiency Foundation, or whatever the exact number was. I bet they'll do that to desperately try and save face. I don't think
even if they doubled it, you've already shown everyone what kind of people you are. I don't think there's any coming back.
Community will respond well to it, because it's very clear that they're just doing it now because of the public pressure that's being exerted on them. I don't know.
I'm sorry that I got caught. I'm not sorry that I did it. I'm sorry that I got caught. That's what it would come across as. And that would be correct.
How they move forward with a good reputation. I don't think all of their talent's going to leave overnight. I imagine a lot of those in fact, I'm confident a lot of those contracts lock them down for quite a while, with like some non-disparagement clauses in there and everything. Like, I bet there is a lot of things at play where the talent won't be able to leave even if they really want to.
That's another advantage to being indie, is you don't have to deal with these ridiculous, like, no compete, no NDA bullshit. It's you're much more free to actually be your own person, which is kind of what being on the internet, being a content creator, should be about. You should be able to, talk about what you want, how you want, within reason, obviously. Don't go breaking TOS just because you're trying to be authentic to who you are or anything. Don't do anything like that. But yeah, these corporations, they basically make you sign your soul away, which again is why I don't recommend joining them.
And I can only hope that the community here doesn't start attacking the Vshojo talent for staying.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't harass anyone. Definitely don't harass anyone who's not involved, specifically with, this this is management. This is a corpo level situation. Attacking talent will never get you anywhere, because a lot of them are probably just as much victims of all this as anything else.
Because I imagine in a lot of cases they don't have a choice. Now, that's kind of the situation in a nutshell, but I want to dive deeper into agencies as a whole. I've kind of teased it a little bit throughout the video. And I know people like to talk about VTubing as a whole, like it's some kind of niche that's not mainstream.
It was maybe a niche like 4 or 5 years ago, but at this point, there's VTubers for every situation. You've got your usual gamer, meme reaction type of VTuber. You've even got like political commentary VTubers. You've got even, this has kind of been wild to see lately, but you've even got like religious VTubers, talking about matters of philosophy and faith and all that. It's really kind of just become another way of being a content creator. It's not a niche anymore. It's, just a way, if you like having a moving avatar and everything and not showing your face and staying anonymous, it's a very good way of doing that. And it doesn't really matter what content that you put out there. There's literally a VTuber out there for everyone.
That couldn't be further from the truth. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it is...
I wouldn't even go so far as to call it an industry. I would just say it's like a genre, like horror. Like, the horror genre. It's kind of an all-encompassing genre of things that are generally considered scary, but there's all kinds of subgenres of horror. That's kind of the weird analysis I would give to VTubing, is that VTubing is a genre as a whole. There's obviously, you know what a VTuber is, but there's all different kinds of VTubers, and they all have their own different niches within the greater genre.
So lucrative. And these agencies have swooped in and made sure they are the ones getting the lion's share of that money, and they'll kind of trickle down, drip feed a little milk from their titties to the talent that's under their umbrella. And what's even more disgusting is they fed people shit and gave them a taste for it, an acquired palate, normalizing their greed, where the talent, the ones that are actually gathering the audience, the actual VTubers, they don't see most of the money that they bring in. The agency does.
What does the agency really do at this point? I guess if you're just some no one with like someone my size with 1,000 subscribers on the main channel, I'm not making any money. But if I join, some agency that, had the ability to market me, then that's, instant success overnight. But of course you're sacrificing your independence, you're sacrificing a portion of your income. You would at least have an income, but you're pretty much capped to whatever the agency is willing to give you, and you don't always have the best negotiating power.
That includes merch, that includes their Twitch subs, that includes YouTube revenue, pretty much any piece of the pie that has dollars, doubloons in it. The agency is the one that's got their fingers in it, and
just to say this, the agencies, just like any business, the agency's purpose is to make money. I'm not saying that you can't have a decent agency in theory that's, they make their share, they do what they're supposed to do. In theory, that's how it's supposed to work. But of course, you get greed involved, or excessive greed, and things just kind of don't go well.
The VTuber gets pieces of it, tiddlywinks, and I think it is so ass backwards. It has always rubbed me the wrong way, so I've always talked very negatively about VTuber agencies, much to the chagrin of the VTuber audience. The audience that watches VTubers is very loyal to their favorite creators in the space.
And this is something that I think people need to realize. Just because you're not a fan of a corporation doesn't mean that you can't still like the talents at that corporation. Like, just because I say I don't like Vshojo doesn't necessarily mean that I have anything against any of the talents specifically. I may, have various opinions about various talents, but I'm not saying just because I don't like Vshojo, I'm not saying that means that I don't like their talents. I just prefer watching indies, which, that's just my preference. And if you like Ironmouse, if you like any of the other Vshojo people, that's completely on you. It's your taste, and I'm not attacking any creators at all by saying that I kind of think that these corporations are scum sometimes.
So they get very upset when the 5'6" Florida man Neanderthal
5'6", I got you beat, brother. I'm 5'7". I'm a giant compared to you. Little short man. That's the one thing I have on you, probably.
shoots spitballs at the agency that represents their favorite VTuber, because the community, like the relationship between the agency and the VTuber, is one that's supposed to be built on like a tight connection, like this partnership, almost like a family. But
No, I hate this. We are not a family just because we work together, corpos. We are not friends. This is a transactional relationship. I show up for an average of 50 hours a week to provide a service for you, and you compensate me for that service. That is it. That is the extent of our relationship. No, I do not want to join your golf league. No, I do not want to play your stupid hide and seek, can you find the elf on the shelf Christmas games. I don't want any part of that. I just want to do my job and leave. Thank you.
nothing could be further from the truth. It's about as much of a family as, like, the prison warden is to the prisoners. I just think it is completely unacceptable the way a lot of these agencies treat their talent. I also think a lot of people have been completely misled by them on the industry as a whole, where they act like there's only one path to success when it comes to VTubing. Or at least they did, not so much these days. It's starting to kind of get a little more clear that you don't have to sign with them, but for the...
Well, yeah, when VTubing first started out, it was kind of almost gated because, I mean, resources for getting models and everything was limited because it was all new technology. And so you kind of almost had to either pony up a lot of money or spend hours and hours learning how to do it yourself with limited resources, especially at the time, or you somehow find a way to join an agency. That's basically your ticket into the space. It's not like that anymore. This is a much more open space than it used to be. Anyone can get a model, pretty much. I got my model. I ended up learning how to do it, and I made it myself, which is why it's as simple as it is. I could obviously hire someone to make a much more advanced model, but I don't want to pony up that money, so, or at least not at the time, at this time, because it's not necessarily a cost that I need to take. But yeah, we're basically at a point now where you really don't have to sign your soul away to an agency in order to make it. There are ways to do it on your own. You just have to get lucky and work at it.
Longest time, it was as if there was only one path to success in the space, which was signing with an agency, where they basically give you a career. They grow you through their network. They give you all the tools to grow, but they basically own you. And I know the argument a lot of people make is, well, they gave you your career. You do owe them like 90% of the money that you...
I wouldn't say 90%, but, you know, if they are providing a service to you, you do have to pay for that service. You know, that service being they jumpstart your career, they give you all kinds of instant followers and success and a network and, you know, merchandising help and all that. So they do, in theory, do work that gives you a reason to join with them that you would then have to compensate for. But yeah, 90%, this is probably a number he just pulled out of his butt, but 90% would definitely be too much. Because, you know, you're still the talent, you're the one who's drawing the numbers, the dollars in. Without the talent, there would be no agency. It's kind of like the sports players. You know, they're the talent. Without the players, there would be no sports league, and so obviously they're gonna make a bunch of money because, you know, that's the value they bring to the table. But of course, the league, without the league, the players wouldn't have anywhere to play, and so it's supposed to be a give and take relationship, but in some cases, the agencies, they're just taking more than they give. In this case, taking money from charity, which is diabolical, as we've already said.
You generate. That makes sense. Without them, you were nothing. And I just think that is completely delusional. I think you've been brainwashed to think that. It's a little different nowadays where so many people are doing really well independent. There are so many independent VTubers that are crushing it, and a lot of formally contracted talent for agencies have left to be indie and are still doing really well. So it's being proven that...
Yep, even graduating and re-debuting as someone else. People still follow them. Which, you know, it's sometimes kind of sad, but yeah, you get it on a personal level. You gotta do what's right for you.
You don't need these agencies to succeed as a VTuber. And I understand, like, you know, they do help speed up the growth of the career because then they just plug and play to like their network and just have eyes on you by default. But from everything I've seen, it just never really seems worth the trade-off. Like, you never get a better deal. So like, let's say you start with them and then you explode and become the biggest VTuber in the world. All the ones I've seen, the contracts don't scale with that success, so you still are locked into a bad deal. And now the agency just makes a killing off of your success, and you kind of stay in the same spot, more or less.
Yep, you're capped at whatever the agency is willing to give you, which is usually not as much as you would like. Oh wow. Once again, turns out corporations like money.
Like, it just doesn't ever really feel worth it to do that when you can still be very successful without these agencies. And it just sucks to see that it is still so common that these agencies are greedy scumbags, like in this case here with Vshojo, apparently. But anyway, I just wanted to yap about this a bit. That's about it. See ya.
That's about it. See ya. Yep, so, in conclusion, don't take money from charity. That's not very nice. And, also, I will definitely not be joining Vshojo, it turns out. Or anyone else. So, anyway, that's kind of the situation. It's absolutely horrendous. And that's about it. See ya.